Queen Bitch logo. On a white background, a black silhouette of a female face with long spiraling hair is positioned next to the words Queen Bitch. The eye is replaced by a star, and the joined up writing has been created by thick ink brushstrokes.
My name is Laura Dahau, aka Laura D Dances. Queen Bitch is a spoken word piece that I wrote, inspired by Ella Mesma's In Part by Ella Mesma's I Am All Women film, and a moment from a personal dating experience. This is Queen Bitch. I am a queen. I deserve to be treated like one. Not out of a sense of entitlement or power. Not that I think that I'm royal, or think of myself as a figure of authority or an expert in my field. Because I am a woman who deserves love, respect and honor. A woman who shouldn't have to beg for it, but earns it through her kindness, fragility and inner power, sensitivity and outward projection. No, I'm not a powerhouse of business or success, just a queen in my own right, owning my rights to be strong, knowing myself and understanding who I be, and respecting others and their truth while standing by my own, without prejudice or scorn. I am who I am, and I appreciate who you be. Don't come to me with hate or fight, because I will stand my ground and cut through your ass with my words, because violence is not the answer. First line of defense is not the first line of my fists, rather the line from my brain to my tongue, and twist my words to overcome our troubles, to mediate and reason, instead of rushing to conclusions. But I will defend those in my own, if any was to step and be so bold, to disrespect and hurt and scold. I will take hold and be that bitch, in protection of mine. However, I am no one's bitch. So don't step to me and call me one. Not here, not in the bedroom, nowhere in this universe do you have the right to call me a bitch. Broken down, I may embody it, but no, if you call me it, I will rain down heavy, break you, and berate you. I instigate and investigate why you have the nerve to step to me and tell me about myself. So let me tell you about yourself. See, I call you out cautiously and courageously. I've got my eyes on you with H, humility, and hard-hitting truth that you've got nothing on me. I reached out to some amazing dancers to help me bring these words to life through dance. Wanting to make this work accessible, this film is audio described by the Rational Method. Words, and it will also be subtitles. You'll see a slowed down version of the movement in black and white, followed by the poem in real time, spoken and danced by the artist. As you may have noticed before, the audio description is below here in white. The poem will also be read by different speakers and will appear in a different colour. For instance, for me, as I'm speaking, there are blue subtitles here at the bottom of the screen.
Kimberly swoops her left hand up into the air and regally places it on the back of her head. Her hand flicks down to her side, and then she sweeps up and around her face with her index finger extended upwards. She draws a circle and fixes her gaze onto her finger.
I am a queen. I deserve to be treated like one.
She flicks both arms diagonally upwards, raises her left hand up, and as it drops, she tilts her head back and forth. She sharply thrusts her left elbow diagonally upwards and holds it there.
Not out of a sense of entitlement or power.
Both arms extended out and then scoop up as her hands cover her face. She tugs on her dungarees, and with both of her hands clasped, she scoops them over the back of her head and presses them down in front of her body until her palms rest on her lap.
not because I am royal, or that I see myself as a figure of authority, or an expert in my field.
Chisato, behind her are large printed letters, BCHIT, which form a semicircle around her. Her hands carve out the curved shape of a woman. Her fists that are crossed at the wrist pull in and rest on her heart. Her hands open like wings that gently flutter in front of her.
I am a woman who deserves love.
She points both her index finger to her left and then regally curtsies to the right, showing that a woman deserves respect and honor.
Respect and honor.
Alice. She moves backwards in her wheelchair with her arms like angular wings behind her. With her head down, she spins in a circle, then smoothly moves forward with straight arms on either side of her body, moving in giant circles. Crouching forward, she clenches both fists tightly, then sits up and crosses her arms slowly. Her entire being radiates confidence.
A woman who shouldn't have to beg for it, but earns it through her kindness, fragility, and inner power.
May list. With her fingertips, she caresses her forehead and then trails them down the outside of her face until they meet again at her chin. They separate and her head tilts to the left, her right hand raised and her left hand dropped.
Sensitivity and outward projection. No.
Raising both fists, she flexes her biceps and spirals her arms downwards. Her hands rub together and she snaps her fingers with an air of satisfaction.
I am not a powerhouse of business and success.
Cynthia. Her hands symbolize a crown she places upon her head. One at a time, her arms stretch out to either side, as if to gesture to her royal subjects. She circles her right arm and then bows forward.
Just a queen, in my own right.
Chisato. Her right clenched fist opens out to an open palm in front of her chest. She points to her heart with her left finger. Both fists make bold circles in front of her. Her right thumb points twice to her forehead. She makes circular movements with her arms and points towards herself.
Owning my right to be strong, knowing myself and understanding who I be.
Natasha. She folds her arms and leans to her left with attitude. Her hands slide up and then apart, fingertips gently tracing down her face and finishing in a prayer position.
Respecting others and their truth while standing by my own.
One after the other, she rotates her wrists, pointing upwards with her right hand and then her left. Point, point. In succession, each hand points to her eyes. Both palms press to her chest, and then her wrists circle up and back. And then with both hands, she points to us. Her gaze never leaves us as her pointing hands cross in front of her.
Without prejudice and scorn, I am who I am, and I appreciate who you be.
Laura. From her wheelchair, she powerfully separates her arms and then clasps her hands together. Her fists pump and make circular crump movements. Her wrists cross at her throat and then open out and are thrown down to either side. Both hands point to us and then alternate sharp horizontal motions. She gestures from her mouth and then flicks her right hand forward, as if she's throwing her words at us.
Don't come to me with hate or fight, because I will stand my ground and kung fu your ass with my words.
Viviana. With her fingers spread, the back of each hand raises up to her cheeks before being thrust towards us. Her right fist is pulled back as if waiting to throw a punch, while her left open hand makes circular movements. She releases her right fist towards us, then opens her palms and rotates her wrist. Her crump movements filled with power and purpose.
Because violence is not the answer. First line of defense is not my first line of my fists.
With her left hand, she grabs her right elbow, and then her right index finger draws a line down her cheek and circles her finger around her head before closing both hands into fists to demonstrate her power.
Rather the line from my brain to my tongue, to twist my words and to overcome.
Chloe. Her shoulders rotate and shrug, her fist clenched. Her wrists lift up to either side of her head, fingers spread. She slams them down by her side, rocking back and forth, wrist and fist cross and rise and drop. She flexes her arms in a strong woman pose and circles her fist around both sides of her head.
Our troubles. To mediate and reason instead of rushing to inconclusions.
Her fingers explode out and her wrists cross slowly in front of her. Her arms open out, then drop and cross in front of her waist. Slowly, she raises her arms, palms facing us, held in a line on either side of her face.
But I will defend those and my own if any was to step and be so bold.
Leticia. She flicks both arms and swings backwards, one shoulder after another. She lowers her head to her hand and scoops her hands up behind her head and lowers them in front of her body.
To disrespect and hurt and scold.
She snatches the air with her left hand and then her right hand. Drawing a circle with both arms, she forms a blade with her hand and raises it in front of her. With her hands in fist, she crosses her wrist in front of her chest. She scoops both hands out and up and places her metaphorical crown on her head with her fingers extended.
I will take hold and be that bitch in protection of mine.
Alice. She moves forward powerfully and confidently. She signs the word bitch and both hands sweep the floor. She leans to the side, balances on one wheel and touches the floor with the right hand. With her wheelchair still attached to her, she rolls to the floor and then backwards over her shoulder. She spins on the knees while still in the wheelchair, then returns to her upright position and moves towards the camera.
However, I am no one's bitch. So, don't step to me and call me one.
Laura. Shaking her head, she raises her arms and then flicks them down. One after the other, the back of each hand thrusts towards us. She makes fists and draws crescent shapes with both hands. Grabbing onto her wheels, she uses both hands to turn in a circle. With a mixture of sign language and kung fu, she spells out the word bitch.
Not here. Not in the bedroom. Nowhere on this earth or this universe do you have the right to call me a bitch.
And then smooths it out with an arm wedge with ripples from her right to her left. She rolls her wrist upwards and then carves out the curves of a woman's figure with her hands. She points to herself and warns us with thrusting arm gestures not to call her a bitch. Looking intently at us with her right index finger extending upwards, we have been well and truly warmed.
Broken down. I may embody it. But no, if you call me it.
Cat. She enters the screen from the right and travels to the other side in a wheelchair. Both arms raise up into the air and then slam down heavily. Her right hand drops lower again. With her head swaying to the left, she turns to face us. Grabbing the air with her hands, she circles her fist and throws her words towards us with confidence and power.
I will rain down heavy, break you and berate you.
Ella. She has curly hair that is tied into a high ponytail. She's wearing a brown vest top with blue leggings and is barefoot in her living room. To the side of her, there is a white chest of drawers with a couple of small plants on top of it. Ella gently wraps her arms around herself. Her embrace rises up her body and her hands lift over her head, morphing into the shape of a royal crown. Forming loops with her index fingers and thumbs, she puts them over her eyes to symbolize vision.
I instigate and investigate why. You have the nerve.
She slices her arms through the air. She stabs her right hand forwards, rocks her hips front and back, then crouches down. She stabs front again and repeats the rocking movements with power and purpose.
To step to me and tell me about myself, so let me tell you about yourself.
Cynthia. Both arms parallel to each other draw a large circle in front of her body. She then flexes her right bicep and she then extends her left arm to the side of her. With both arms she points to her eyes and then opens her arms to imply that she is watching everyone.
See, I call you out courageously but cautiously. I've got my eyes on you.
Charlene. Making an angular shape with her raised elbow, her leg and arm shoot diagonally down to meet her raised knee. Her outstretched arm loops over her body and returns back to the angular shape. Her arm loops back in the opposite direction and she turns her back to the camera.
H. Humility. Hard-hitting truth.
She caresses her lower back with her right hand, while simultaneously caressing the back of her head with her left hand. She turns to face the camera, with her hands joined by the fingertips. Her hands separate, with her left hand descending, while her right hand ascends, and then swoops to the side before gently ascending finally to rest on her chest.
That you have nothing on me.
Laura.
A huge thank you to all those that were involved, and if you weren't able to be involved this time, no worries. I'm sure there'll be future collaborations and projects that we can collaborate on. So,
thank you to all the queens involved. Here they are from a black screen. Selfies of the dancers appear from a dark circle and spin one after the other. Alice, Charlene, Chisato, Cynthia, Ella, Kat, Kimberly, Chloe, Leticia, Mayless, Natasha, Viviana, and me, Laura. The screen splits in two and opens like a doorway, revealing a screenshot of all the selfies, zooming to fill the screen with a purple glaze. The phrase "I am a queen" is typewritten in calligraphy text, followed by a flashing cursor, expanding to get bigger and fading to disappear to either side of the screen. A black screen. The credits roll. Blue writing details the names, jobs, and everyone involved in the production of Queen Bitch, appearing from the bottom center of the screen, scrolling upwards and disappearing at the top of the screen. Cast, in order of appearance: Laura Dahau. Dancers: Kimberly Harvey, Chisato Minamamora, Alice Shepherd, Maylis Arabit, Cynthia Bowling, Natasha Kamjani, Laura Dahau, Viviana Richer, Chloe Dean, Leticia Simpson, Kat Ball, Ella Mesma, Charlene Lowe. Rehearsal Sign Language Interpreter for Chisato Minamamura, Becky Barry. Support for Cynthia Bowling, Claudette Frances Burke. Captioned by Mix Captions app, Laura Dow. Audio description, The Rational Method. Audio description performed by Tashinga Metawe, Laura Dow. Produced and edited, Laura D. Dances. Filmed in UK, Dubai, USA, and France. Artwork, Pixel Press. The Laura D. Dances logo moves in from the left-hand side of the screen. It is drawn in a calligraphy font graphic with the letters Laura D in blue and the word Dances in red. The two Ds are capitals and the space in the middle filled with lines representing spokes of her wheelchair. The Rational Method logo moves in from the right and is positioned on the right-hand side of the screen. It is a blue circle with a smaller white circle inside and positioned towards the lower right of the blue circle. Written in maroon capitals are the letters RM, and beneath, in smaller font, Rational Method. Two more logos appear from a shimmer of white and pink sparkles to show appreciation for the funding used to make this project. It reveals the National Lottery logo, a white hand with the index and middle fingers crossed for luck. The words Arts Council shaped in a semicircle above the word England in a semicircle to complete the shape of a circle. Underneath it, white text saying Lottery Funded. Next to this, in a small white text, it reads Supported using public funding by, and in capitals underneath, Arts Council England. The Unlimited logo is written in capital letters, in small ones, Supported by, and in large bold letters, Unlimited, followed by 3 small pink dots, an ellipsis. Shiny white sparkles reveal the Queen Bitch logo, and she exits with equal sparkle as the screen fades to black.